To help talk about the extreme Disney World tips, some of the most extreme, I brought on an expert in pushing Disney World to the extreme. You may know that I've ridden everything in Disney World in one day. Well, Steve here has also done it, and in a bit more of an extreme way than me, because Steve has completed the Parkeology challenge, which is considered the most difficult version of riding everything in Disney World in one day. We'll talk a little bit about why it's so difficult in a bit, but Steve, I want to pick your brain so that we can share some of the best tips that you've used with everyone who might not be trying to ride everything in Disney World one day, but might want to do things quickly and have the most fun they can on their vacations. But thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah. And if you ever want to see Steve's attempts, you can find him on The Sports Zoo on YouTube. They're inspiring, to say the least. And also, I get tired watching them. As I also get tired doing this challenge and watching myself do this challenge. It's just tiring to think about. On one of your most recently posted attempts, which unfortunately was not a success, but was still a good showing, as they all are, I saw that you were the very first in line for Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom. I've never successfully done that. How did you do that?
Really, you just get a lot of luck and hope that there aren't a lot of other fast people there. But the big tip, I would say, is certainly get the preferred parking. If you're driving, that gets you just a little bit closer. Probably not very many people you're jumping ahead of there, but that does get you into the security line a little bit faster because you're already at a deficit. The people with the buses actually get there first. So the people in line with cars are slightly slower. However, once you do finally get through there, do your best to get to the front of whatever line is available. Sometimes they even open the ones on the ends a little bit later if you're caught behind, so look out for that. But once the gates do open and they let you through, you do have to go through that second scan to make sure you get in, but then stay to the very left, because on the left you can hug Island Mercantile. It's obviously not open yet because the park isn't open, but it does give you just a little bit of, a lesser route. It does, just a little bit. Let the other people look at that beautiful tree of life on the way in. Just stick to the
You can look at it later, another day.
Exactly.
I also know that for me, I've noticed often, because those buses come in first, the security line starts to build up on the left side, the left security at Animal Kingdom, whereas on the right side, usually it doesn't start, usually there's no one there until like a couple of minutes later, because the people coming from the buses don't walk all the way over. They don't notice that that one is also where you can queue up. So it's definitely head on a swivel time. But yeah, luck and speed. Getting lucky that no other fast people are there. I actually want to hit on speed, because you use a speed tactic that I aspire to use, that we call fry speed here on AllEars. My big question there is like, how are you so fast? It's like, how?
It's working out the other 364 days of the year, right? No, you have to get those great shoes. I know AllEars always been promoting those shoes. I got those Hoka shoes. They work very well for me. That's definitely the key to be able to keep it up. Those shoes have been a lifesaver in saving you throughout the day, for sure. That is the main thing.
I've heard big things about the Hokas. Emma refuses to wear anything besides Hokas, and it stresses her out because they're so expensive, but she's like, it's worth it. You just gotta.
Very worth it.
Yeah.
Very worth it. For this challenge, that is worth it. But, you just have to keep going. I mean, every minute counts in this challenge.
You train. You work out every day of the year to fry speed. Listen, I've many times tried to tap into my inner fry speed, and it's just, I get faster, but I just I'm not at fry speed level,
Understood, but we've seen you plenty of times. You're plenty fast.
I'm cheating with the height, it's like how tall are you? Are you cheating with height?
Just under 6 feet, so not quite.
Okay, but that's still about where I am. You're cheating a little with height. Fry's like this tall. She's like those birds on the beach.
Yeah, I don't know how she does it. It's very impressive.
It's insane to see in person, I'll tell you. So Steve, who's the only person to successfully complete Parkeology under the current lightning lane format, he's done it twice. He uses fry speed. Are you trading? Do you go to the beach where all those little birds are, and do you follow them around with your little legs at breakneck speeds?
Yes. Birds at the beach is like level 3. So don't start with it.
What's level 1?
Level 1 is just going to Magic Kingdom and intensely looking at the rides to intimidate them.
Oh, Okay. And then level 3 is birds at the beach. So what's level 2?
You have to finish level 1 first. Sorry.
Oh, you don't get to know level 2 until you
All
finish
of the even number levels are secret.
Oh, how many levels are there? Okay, so this is why I've never been able to do it. I see. Okay. In your video, you had used Expedition Everest and Dinosaur both as lightning lanes first thing. You shared that you definitely didn't need those and that you wouldn't use lightning lane in Animal Kingdom. Of course, the downside to that is you're not opening up your passkey, your burner attraction to be able to free up the tier system in the lightning lanes. And when that happens, it's a little later that you can go for that Slinky Dog, that Frozen Ever After that you're looking for later in the day. So my question there is, I know you've made a couple more attempts that I haven't seen yet. What's your new go-to with the lightning lane strategy in the morning?
So the new go-to is to skip Animal Kingdom. That has worked out for me in the successful attempts. So go straight to Magic Kingdom. That'll usually will be your second park, since there are certain things that you need to get in the morning that I assume we'll also talk about in a little bit. Yeah. But that is the key there. You can usually, if you're doing it on a good ride day, you should be able to get one of the 2 big ones before 10 o'clock. And that's really the key. If you can get either Jungle Cruise or Peter Pan before 9:45, really 9:50 if you can get to 9:45, and there's a good reason for that. But if you can get one of those before that time, that is the key to success in Magic Kingdom for sure. If you can't get either of them, if you can then get either Winnie the Pooh or Haunted Mansion, those are my tier 2s that I really love to get. If you can get either of those before that 9:45 time, that's fine. If you can't get any of those 4, then get your burner and get that to be before 9:00.
Mad tea party.
That's fine. That's fine. And as long as you can get something before 9:45, that is the key to start the day. Anything before that, you don't really need, because you do want to really try when you get there. Doing it in the hardest version, you do want to get on the Main Street vehicles before, as soon as the park opens, like you've done it before the park opens, before we've seen on your videos. So obviously you're not going to be using a lightning lane when you're focusing on Main Street vehicles. So that is the key. Anything else, if you happen to get in before the park officially opens, you're fine. I do really like to go to Adventureland first, right around that 9 o'clock time, in addition to Main Street vehicles.
This is a good time for us to talk about the Parkeology rules and how they're different from the AllEars Ride Challenge rules. So for us, we don't include shows or methods of transportation, meaning anywhere that has a place that you have to get on and get off in 2 different places. And that means we used to include these, and through audience feedback, we ended up dialing them back over the course of many attempts between Fry and I trying this challenge. But Parkeology does include these. It includes Carousel of Progress. It includes the Wildlife Express in Animal Kingdom, the Main Street vehicles. There are a lot of little things that are included in Parkeology that make it very difficult. Used to be Tom Sawyer Island rafts, Liberty Bell Riverboat, which makes this challenge so difficult. It actually used to be one that was completed regularly. People used to complete Parkeology, prior to 2019 and earlier, I would say. People were doing it all the time. You could do all the rides and it was fairly easy. Since COVID, it has gotten dramatically more difficult. And I believe, if I'm right, that Walt Disney World has had under 5 completions since COVID.
Since COVID, right.
Yeah, and I think that you're 2 of them now?
2 of them in a row, yep.
Yep. And you're the only one who's done it since Lightning Lane has existed.
Right, yeah. And the most recent change to the Lightning Lane multi-pass and single pass, as it currently is, I'm the only one.
Only one who's done it. So it's a very, very, very difficult challenge. That's not to say there have not been attempts. There have been many. It's an insanely difficult challenge. It has some other rules. For instance, you cannot have a helper. Something about the AllEars one is that I usually have someone who is driving me, grabbing me lunch. I don't think you eat, right?
I do eat, but I don't eat in the park. Since I always drive, I have a nice cooler that I keep everything cold. So I make sure to go to Publix or to Wawa, for example, get a cold sub the night before and have that ready to go. I'll eat that. I'll have snacks. I'm not worried about any nutrition.
I was wondering. I was watching
day.
and I was like, is he eating? Like going to the
Yeah, so
bathroom. Like
anytime I'm
where are the
going
bodily
between the
needs happening?
That is the key. That is the time I'm drinking. I have plenty of bottled water. I do like to start the day with an energy drink on this particular one to wake me up. I'm a night person, not a morning person.
Me too.
That's the hardest part for me.
And also, you have to tweet a selfie of you on every single ride and a photo of the lightning lane that you're using every time you use a lightning lane.
Right.
And that is so that Parkeology can verify that you've completed the challenge.
Correct.
So a lot on your mind when doing Parkeology.
For sure. Especially, as you would know better than anyone, that we're filming it at the same time,
You're filming it at the same time.
We're making it even harder than it needs to be.
I typically have Emma at home connected to my Disney experience, who's pulling my lightning lanes for me, and you do not. You were running your lightning lanes alone.
Correct.
Which is wild.
For this most recent one, I did it on October 29th. And I think it was the 27th, they switched up the app a little bit. So I was flying blind there a little bit. I know it wasn't big changes, but it was just enough to make it a tricky day. I couldn't find the multi-experience passes to save my life. I knew I got them, but I couldn't find them to take that screenshot for forever. It was terrible.
Additionally, Parkeology, you can't use Lightning Lane Premier Pass. They've determined in the rules, which is kind of a benefit because then you don't have to pay for it, but they've determined in the rules that Lightning Lane Premier Pass isn't really in the spirit of Parkeology. I totally agree. I used it in my success. I had Premier Pass, so it's just harder. So you've done something incredible. I didn't think it was possible, to be honest, and now you're making me want to try, or you're making me want to race you, and we'll just see what happens.
Go. Let's do it. I do want to point out one big difference that we didn't touch on. The multi-experience passes on the Parkeology Challenge can only be used for that same ride instead of the handful of other good rides, so you can't switch it up that way.
Oh, interesting. Like if you get an experience redemption, you have to use it. That's wild.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that one. So I determined a long time ago in my attempts, because I've done this many times, I've failed many times, and I've succeeded once, not Parkeology, but riding everything in Disney World in one day. You go to parks multiple times in a day. You, Magic Kingdom is your second park, and then also typically your last with the extended evening hours. I stopped doing that because I thought that the time I was losing going between the parks was going to be more than the time I lost waiting for whatever was problematic at the time. But I really like what you do, where you just go you go to Magic Kingdom, you just use like the best part of the Magic Kingdom day, which is like that first 2 hours. You get rope drop in, you get your some good lightning lanes out of the way, and also everything that has to be done at that time. And then you're not really back until the evening. It reduces a lot of stress around those rides that close early, but also I feel like the added stress of the travel time would drive me insane. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about why you decided to do that in your strategy.
Right, so the key there it's twofold to go to Magic Kingdom early. We already discussed it a little bit. It is with those rides that are only open early-ish. And fortunately, now that those two rides are closed, the Tom Sawyer Rafts and Liberty Bell are both closed now, that does very much alleviate that issue. So it's not as much needed to do that anymore. But still, it certainly can work to do it that way. Because getting that early time, if you can basically double rope drop, you're really saving a lot of time at Magic Kingdom. And on my most recent attempt in October, I tried to do that. It didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to, because both of the two rides that I wanted to do before official park open were Seven Dwarfs and Peter Pan. Both of them had delayed openings until after regular park opening. So I had to go to my third strategy, which is Astro Orbiter and Space Mountain as the two to do. And actually did Astro Orbiter first because it is one of those very few
Astro Orbiter
that
is brutal.
don't
It's
have
always
lightning
highlighted
lane.
in red on my checklist of difficult.
It's always a pain in the butt. So you
It's like a
definitely want to hit that
25-minute
early.
minimum involvement. Yeah.
Right. So if you rope drop Astro Orbiter, you're actually doing okay as a third choice, I would say. And then
So are
Space
you
Mountain
still-
Space Mountain was a walk-on too, basically.
Yeah, Space Mountain often, it's got a reputation of not being easy to get on. Often a walk-on, or 20 minutes or shorter, which is not good for this challenge, but it is good for your normal day. Just keep your eye on that wait time. Are you still sort of bouncing out of Animal Kingdom after hitting those big ones first thing, and then popping back to Animal Kingdom later?
I actually did it both ways.
Okay.
The most recent attempt, I did that. I left after just 2 rides instead of 4 rides. The 2 videos that are currently public, I did 4 rides and then left. This last time, I did just the 2, just Flight of Passage and Na'vi River Journey, and then I left because I said I really want to emphasize getting that double rope drop this time. Like I said, it didn't quite work out. But the very first time I won, I actually didn't do that. I did the entire Animal Kingdom.
Wow,
park.
okay.
So that was a little bit more traditional because I was just getting frustrated doing the 4 rides and leaving, and it didn't quite work out. So I said, let me do them all and see if that works out. Because if you do that, the biggest trade-off is those Main Street vehicles. Because if you don't hit it in the first hour, oh boy, you're tempting fate there for sure. You just never know. So the goal there was to get onto Wildlife Express right at 9:30 when it opens.
Yes.
So you just do a clockwise loop and then circle back to Cali River Rapids since it opens late at 9, and then you just go right to Wildlife Express for 9:30. And if you can get on the first one or the second one, maybe you still have a shot, but then you're gonna have to really pay attention to the Main Street vehicles.
I think next time I attempt, I might try just doing Pandora and trying to get a double Magic Kingdom rope drop because I always find the Animal Kingdom and maybe it's just my luck, but like Cali River Rapids is always a delayed opening. And that's always the one that because since we haven't included Wildlife Express, that's always the one that I'm like, this close. And then if I could bounce out of Cali, I could get a really good time into Magic Kingdom. But then Cali's it's like 9:15 and it's still not open. And I'm like, what are we doing? Cali River Rapids. It's so funny to me how many people are also rope dropping Cali River Rapids.
Amazing. Yeah, I do want to note for Cali River Rapids, it is important if you do that in the second go round, the second trip, if you do have to get it in the afternoon and you need that lightning lane, it is a little tricky. You might forget that you have to go around to the back to tap in there with a cast member, not even a normal tap point. You have to go to a cast member to scan you in there.
And it takes so something that I'm sure you can empathize with is when you are doing Ride Everything in Disney World Challenge, every single little thing that takes an extra amount of time, you are sitting there thinking, your heart's pounding, your brain's whirring through the time that you're losing and where you're going to have to pick that back up constantly. It is one of the most, it's obviously very physically grueling. I think on one of my attempts, I did my step record of 48,000 or something in one day. It was insane, but it's more mentally grueling. This challenge is so stressful because and I have distinct memories of that tap in with the Cali cast member of me being like, tap the light, get your tablet out, tap my lighting. And I'm insane. I'm standing there I'm the problem here, not the cast member. But for me, the reason I do these challenges is to push Disney World to its limits and really be able to share some tips that can help anyone on a regular vacation. But why do you do this?
Well, I was actually just inspired from Fry's early attempts. I have to admit, that did it. I said, she almost got there. I think I can do this too. And it's just kind of the perfect challenge for me, I feel like. So I
think it's really cool. I think it's really fun doing the repeat attempts. It is not fun for me while I'm doing it, but as afterwards, the amount you learn, coming up with strategies, it's so it's just fun, to think about, but it's so hard. So sorry to interrupt. But clearly, if you're this far into this video, you are looking to unlock those niche, secret, very pro tips. You're probably already down with the basics. You know the transportation, lightning lane. Or maybe you're new here, but you're also cool with the huge. I get it. You know the basics. But what takes someone from being your everyday guest to leveling up to being a real, true Disney expert? You don't have to write everything in one day, I'll tell you that much. It's really just knowing the kind of quirky, niche, oddly specific tips. And for that reason, our team has painstakingly created 5 oddly specific maps you never know you needed for Disney World. It's true. They're oddly specific, but it's also true that you need them. And they're free. If you want them, just scan this QR code or head to AllEars.net/oddmaps. And you can grab them there.
They're weird. They're helpful. Both can be true.
So when you make it to Epcot, I just wanted to bring up and have you talk about a little bit. Your path is Spaceship Earth, World Discovery, cross to World Nature, and then head into World Showcase for the problem rides, Frozen and Remy. Remy, luckily, less of a problem now that single rider is pretty consistent. I love that single rider. What's the thought behind the pathing? I know that one of my least favorite walks, and a walk that actually lost me the challenge one time, is between Frozen and Remy.
Now, actually, the best path is going to Spaceship Earth and then over to Guardians and making the loop all the way up through and then ending with Nemo, I guess it would be.
Interesting.
Yep. If you're driving, you want to take that path. But then if you are taking a minivan or just any rideshare, I guess that would be the time to do it. That's what I had to do on that particular day that I most brought out. It was because the Liberty Square Riverboat was very picky that day. It really didn't want to get going. It was closed all morning, so it ruined my plans that day.
Yeah.
And finally, I saw it opened around, I want to say probably either the 4:30 or the 5 o'clock loop. So I just had to finish Epcot first. The Remy one is really a toss-up. I think it's pretty even of whether to do single rider or a lightning lane.
If you can get a lightning lane, I think do, because unless you only have like one slot open and you're really gutting for something that is a little higher stress later for like Hollywood Studios or even back at Magic, because that Remy single rider sometimes walk on, sometimes very much not. So it's like it can,
Exactly. It is a problem. They load single rider differently sometimes, I've noticed.
Yes.
Sometimes
that's true. It's true everywhere where
Right.
you're just kind of gambling with the cast member. Like,
Yeah.
Rise is a great example. On Rise, sometimes every time they get an odd numbered party that doesn't fit the three and three rows, they grab a single rider, and sometimes they will go as far back as they possibly can looking for a party to fill it out in the standby. Which I actually get, because folks who are waiting in the standby, I get it. But when I'm in these challenges, I'm like...
Exactly. The other issue with Epcot is extended evening hours. You do need to pay attention to that. So if Epcot is going to be your extending evening hour park from 9 to 11 on a Monday night, then you need to make sure to get Figment and Living with the Land before 9 p.m. because those two rides are not open for extended evening hours.
Nemo sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes.
That has been an issue. I saw that even close at like a couple hours before at some point last year when they were doing some nighttime refurbishments or something.
It's not listed as not being available for extended evening hours, but I have often seen it unavailable. And the way you can check it for sure is by checking the actual hours for the ride. Those are always accurate, unless of course there's a unexpected closure. But I almost had that cause a serious problem. I mean, I didn't complete it this day anyway, but I almost had that be a problem. I noticed literally right before it closed that it was about to close. Next thing, I just wanted to share my mutual dislike for the Mission Space pre-show.
Yes.
Why is that thing so slow, and why is there no cell service?
It's so bad. It's so bad. It's the worst. You're just stuck there with your thoughts, and the pre-show, it can be over, and then just the screen just refreshes and goes through its little thing.
And it's a dead zone for your phone. And it's like most
Absolutely.
delays, at least you have the time to be looking for that lightning lane you need.
Exactly.
But your phone's you're not loading any lightning lanes in there.
No. The good news is at least green, it pretty much always is 5 minutes, and you technically don't really have a wait. It's just however long it takes them to open those
However
doors.
long it takes. It's a walk on, kinda. Yeah. That 2-hour window, or I think you call it the rule of 119, which is the secret 2-hour window after a lightning lane expires. It's really not quite 2 hours. It's 119 minutes, which is why it's the rule of 119. But basically, after a lightning lane expires, you actually have 1 hour and 59 minutes before you will not be able to scan in. Technically, it's to cast member discretion. I have done this probably at this point 100 times. Our team has probably done it hundreds of times. Never once been turned down because you turn green. They're not even really going to glance. They could see that you are late, but you turn green, they let you through. And this is a lifesaver in this challenge. I think you agree.
Absolutely. You 100% will need to use it multiple times in any given day, no matter what, if you're on any sort of pace to get close to finishing. So it is absolutely necessary. You're just going to have to do it. If they somehow change the rules on you, well, it's going to be a loss on that day, and we're going to have to readjust for the next time. But it is a lifesaver. The good news is it does stay on the app in that extra hour and 19. So, you at least have something to keep your mind at ease a little bit while you're dreading.
I always screenshot it because I'm paranoid.
Yes.
I think the biggest piece of advice that anyone who's going to Disney World can take from this challenge, whether you are going for an afternoon or for your trip of a lifetime 10-day trip, is pivot and knowing how to pivot, knowing that when things go wrong, it's not over. I think on any of either of our attempts, you can see multiple occasions where we go, well, plan A is not going to work, so we were going to do plan B, which isn't going to work, so we're doing plan C. And that's just because rides go down, your timing is wrong on something, transportation takes too long, there's any number of things that can happen. So having backup plans ready, or even just being ready to think about what's something else I can do right now, I think is maybe the single biggest tip. I'm curious about with your winning attempts. I know that on that one attempt we're talking about where you had the Liberty Bell reopening it reopened right around 5, closed for the day at 7, and you were in Epcot, supposed to be heading to Hollywood Studios. Your car was at Epcot, so you ended up having to minivan to Magic, minivan back to Epcot, get your car, and then move it to Hollywood Studios. I know that felt horrible. Yes. With your successful attempts, how many times do you find yourself going between the parks?
So it was different the 2 times. The first time I tried the traditional route. That was Animal Kingdom to Magic Kingdom. I did all of Magic Kingdom next. Then that was in Epcot extended evening hours. So then I did Hollywood Studios third and Epcot last on that day. Then the most recent attempt, I went back into the double rope drop strategy with Magic Kingdom. So that was really, just one other trek back to Animal Kingdom after Magic Kingdom was done. So then I went right back to... I feel
heartened that both of those can work.
It really is a trade-off. It just depends on the day, I guess.
I also find it interesting that you use your own car. I think there's pros and cons to this because obviously I am not doing Parkeology. I've had a driver. But if I didn't have a driver, I would think that I'd lean rideshare because of just the fact that I'm not physically driving. I can actually look at lightning lanes while I'm doing it. But I think there's downsides there, which would be obviously the variability of rideshare. In parks like Epcot, I actually think the rideshare parking lot is farther than preferred parking. To walk to. It's very far. If you don't time it right, you could miss a Lyft or Uber, which could be the nail in the coffin. Do you think you're ride or die your own car except for trips to Magic Kingdom at this point?
No, I think both ways are doable. I certainly do. It's just, you do just need to make sure you're getting good return times on those ride shares. That is tough. You just never know.
Are you still on your winning attempts using Tron and Guardians as your 2 single passes?
It depends on the route. Yeah, for Epcot and Hollywood Studios, I am using both Tron and Guardians as the 2. So in this most recent attempt, because Hollywood Studios doesn't have one of those other rides, because you always want to use single rider for Rise of the Resistance now, because you get to skip those first 2 pre-shows. That's really a key.
Which is huge. I mean, it's like a 20... If you lightning lane, it will take you more time than standing and waiting physically in the single rider line.
Exactly.
Pre-shows.
This time I did Seven Dwarfs as a standby, and like I said earlier, I wanted to double rope drop that, but
you did Seven
closed,
standby.
So I had to wait until it was open. It was listed as a 55-minute wait by the time I finally was able to get in line for it. Fortunately, I was off the ride in 39 minutes from when I got in, so it wasn't terrible. Hollywood Studios, definitely a good time to try the double rope drop strategy.
We've talked a lot about single rider lines, which are great for this challenge. Also great if you just want to get your second ride in of the day, or maybe if you're willing and able to split your party, we recommend most of them. A good rule is if the ride vehicle fits 6, it's probably a good single rider line. If the ride vehicle fits 4, it's probably not. One of my favorite tips, and one that I think is I don't say it too often because it is very specific, but Steve brought it up as something that he thinks helped him get the win, is going left at Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
Yes.
Because that single rider line gets backed up, but there's secretly two lightning lanes.
There are. It's so strange. I mean, you just keep going straight down that path, and that's to the right. So you do sometimes get a line there. Not often, but sometimes. But sure enough, I did not know that until you pointed that out on a video.
Why would you look that way? Nobody's
exactly.
like, you got to have your head on a swivel. But there are two single rider lines, and unless you're riding it pretty close to close, they're both open. And the one going left is not one that anybody gets on, and you'll be seated very quickly. It's a massive time saver. So I love that tip.
And the other thing I want to note for single rider lines, be on the lookout. Pay attention, I guess is the right word. Pay attention to the cast members. There are a handful of rides where it really comes in handy, where they might just yell out to get a single rider up there that's not really a single rider line.
That is so true.
Always have your hand up ready to go as soon as they call for one, and you will often be able to save at least a couple rides. And on top of that, I do want to point out Space Mountain technically has a single rider once you're pretty far in that line. So if you are at Magic Kingdom in the middle of the day, if you take that single rider line when you talk to the cast member, they'll take you around to a separate opening, and it will save you some time. One thing I definitely want to point out that I think is helpful on some rides, know where to stand or be on the ride itself. For example, I think everybody knows the Cosmic Rewind secret to get all the way to the right side of those pre-shows. So when those doors open, you can fly out and you're going to save a lot of time.
I do that, funnily enough, with a lot of the like with Dumbo. Because those elephants land back right where they take off. And if you are in the elephant that is by the exit gate, you will be in the elephant by the exit gate when it lands.
Correct.
And can get that, might save you 20 seconds. If you're stuck behind the little kid and the gate's heavy, you're not going to rush past that little kid. You're going to wait for that little kid to push the gate open. So it's that positioning is a great tip. That's a good one.
Yes. Another good one, surprisingly, Wildlife Express. I know that's not one that you've been doing, but
I'm curious.
Sit right beside the cast member, because she's got to open all of the doors on the train, so she's got to get out first.
That's a great one. And you know what? That would go wrong for me. I would not have thought of that. And I would be sitting there watching her open every door but mine.
Another key one that you wouldn't do, of course, on Carousel of Progress, sit all the way to the right there.
Back row, far right on Carousel of Progress. That one is big help. Thank you so much, Steve, for coming on. This I think has been so helpful to people. So thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you, Quincy. Great to be here.
And remember to check out Steve at the Sports Zoo. All of his attempts go up on his YouTube channel. You can follow along there. And then also on Twitter, if you ever want to see live, you can keep an eye out there while he's updating Parkeology on what he's doing. You can be stressed for him.
Thanks.